She travels through towns, giving no name. Her fiery mane seen by all, noticed by all. Her weapons strange yet effective. She used to rebel, but values herself, as a sheriff of righteousness would. In her travels, no harm has come to her from storms of hail, nor sources of light. She can dispatch deserters and ambushers without breaking sweat or slowing stride. In the morning, her intents are pure. One might even say that they feel right. Amidst battle, her ability to craft shields in 2 days or less is uncommon, but at the end of the day she always goes back, always to that same old, worn whetstone. Hello and welcome everyone, this is Calebovitsch, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Deck Check. That poem you just heard is the description, or rather the hints about this card that I had the honor to reveal, thanks to a very loyal viewer. And during the card reveal, I wanted to give my chat a little challenge. So yes, I wrote this poem, huge air quotes there, that was supposed to have all the clues to the cost, influence requirement, power, health, attack, health, name, creature type, unit type, first ability, second ability, and third ability, and the chat found out most of these things very, very fast, even in ways I did not think were possible. So yes, Conspicuous Traveler is a card in the Flame of Xulta. Is it used in any decks? Well, yes it is, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this whole prelude. So let's jump right into what deck I will be talking about this week. Hello, Traveler. You are very conspicuous, and you are very welcome to our Winchest control. Honestly, I had no idea how to name this deck, and given that, it's not an armory deck per se, it's not a dragon deck per se, it's a high removal package. Okay. So let me maybe start about let's skip the name for now. Maybe someone in the comments below can suggest a better name for this one. But first, let's start with the Expedition metagame, because yes, this is a deck for the Expedition format. So from what I've seen and what I've heard about, aggro is running rampant. Aggro in mid-range in different sorts, shapes and colors, literally colors. You have your Stone Scar Mastery aggro, you have your Elysian tempo, you have your other Huru tempos, you have your Argentport tempos, you have your Xenon Cultists that include a lot of cheap stuff, and but is rather a mid-range deck. So all of this led me to a couple of conclusions. Yeah, let's not play aggro, let's not play mirrors. I personally don't like playing mirrors. I'd rather just try and find a deck and or build a deck that tries to answer the metagame. I'm not saying this deck is the answer to the current metagame, but maybe it's a start. So I got a list for an armory deck from Mr. Amalgam in Team Rankstar's Discord channel. That was the inspiration to start going with this, but this thing you see here before your eyes is very different from that first one. I've changed, I don't know, about 20 to 25 cards so far. So is it the same deck that started? I'm not so sure. So the first card I wanted to talk about is Conspicuous Traveler. Yes, the one you've seen and you've heard even a whole poem about, is a 4-cost Rakano 3/4 Gunslinger that says at the end of your turn, your relic weapon gets +1 attack, the so-called whetstone effect. When you summon this, you gain 3 armor, and on mastery 6, which means if it deals its attack worth of damage twice, you gain 6 additional armor. So you might want to fit this card into an armory deck for sure, so that your relic weapons are huge and can whack a mole each turn, and give you tons of card advantage. But also, you could think about this card as a 4-cost 3/4 that gains you 3 health when it comes into play. I mean, there was a time card back in the day, and is still in Throne, that is a 4-cost 4/4 that gives you 4 health when it comes into play, but yeah, this is Expedition and this is not a time deck. So this was the beginning, so yes, I mean, we want to be controlling, we want to put a big body on the board mid-game, we want to gain some armor, which is equivalent to health in this deck as well. So yes, that was the basis of the deck. Now, if you are in the Rakano or Winchest colors and are thinking about armory, which is a lot of relic weapons, you as the player gaining armor and just controlling the whole board, you can't look any further than Dragonforge from the Flame of Xulta. That is a 3-cost fire fast spell that says draw a dragon or weapon of your choice from your deck and reduce its cost by 1. Now this card is quite similar to Rise to the Challenge from back in the old days, that is still sitting in Throne. There was a 4-cost Rakano slow spell that drew a unit or weapon of your choice from your deck, did not reduce its cost, but gave it +2 attack. Very similar, but somehow Dragonforge is much better in this deck, at least in my opinion. So if we are playing 4 copies of this card, this means we have to populate the deck with relic weapons or regular weapons and dragons. So let's start the dragon curve with Raging Firemaw, and no, I'm not playing a Teething Whelp here. Teething Whelp, in my opinion, is suited more for more aggressive decks, like pure Stonescar aggro or Stonescar mid-range mastery decks. So this is a 4-cost double fire dragon, a flying 2/5, that says pay 6 and twist this to deal its attack and damage to an enemy. So it is both a good blocker early mid in the game because it's 2/5. It doesn't have huge influence requirements, but later in the game, if you just go up to 6, you're able to twist it into a 3/4 and deal 3 damage to an enemy unit usually, or just to the face. That is always good, also good. And if it is uncontested, it just attacks for 3, 4, 5 damage and shoots a unit, shoots a unit, shoots a unit. So this is an honorary relic weapon with wings, so to say. I am playing 1 copy of it in my deck, and it has been honestly overperforming from what I initially thought it would do. Next up, we have 2 copies of Carved Solar Dragon, probably the best dragon from the Flame of Xulta. I mean, you might contest that Teething Whelp is better, but Carved Solar Dragon is much more value. It is a 6-cost double shadow 4/5 flyer with lifesteal, a nightmare dragon, that says your cultists have exalted, and on summon you get to play a 1/1 cultist for each different name among your dragons, usually 1, but sometimes 2, maybe 3. And on Mastery 12 your cultist gets bigger, but that usually doesn't matter. It's a 4/5 flying lifestealer, and that's it. That's all you need here. Only 2 copies of this. You might go higher on this, but honestly, the fun thing about this deck is the first list ran just 4 copies of Carved from Amongst Dragons, as far as I remember, but I didn't have as many, and I don't have as much Shiftstone as I used to, because I was crafting a lot of meme decks lately. So I went down from 4 to 2, and put in some different dragons, like Raging Firemaw, but also the ones you're gonna hear about next. Noxious Wyvark, a 7-cost double shadow 3/4 flyer, also a nightmare dragon from the Nightmare Dragon family, that says on summon each unit without flying gets -3/-3 this turn. So this is like an honorary malediction with wings, but doesn't kill flyers. Is this effect good? Oh, yes it is. I mean, on turn 4 against aggressive decks, usually we just want to play Malediction, but this is a Malediction you can tutor for. Fast speed, which means at the end of your opponent's turn. This one has also been performing quite well for me lately. Next up we have Voprex, the Great Ruin, a 7-cost triple Stone Scar in a requirement, which is a huge requirement. A 5/5 flying Overwhelmed Dragon that on summon, the enemy player must choose, discard their hand or sacrifice all their units. Now, honestly, I thought this card would work slightly different and would be slightly better. But if your opponent has an empty hand, they can discard 0 cards. If they have no units in play, they can sacrifice 0 units and not get penalized. I thought it would work the other way and it would just severely punish control decks that don't have any units in play, but it doesn't work that way. So I've learned something. Although this deck is at its best against mid-range decks, because on turn 6 or 7, because it can get cheaper with Dragonforge, and that is a huge boon for this deck. If you run it onto the board, and let's say the opponent has 3 units in play and 3 cards in hand, what do? Do they give you the field, allow you to attack with your ground units or dragons? Or do they discard their hand and it's slightly easier for you to play now, because they probably ditched a removal or 2. So this one is quite tricky, that's why only 1-off in the deck. As I said, you can tutor for it, but there are some cases where this one is quite handy. And next one is the Nightmare Dragon version of Voprex, an 8-cost, also triple Stone Scar influence, 8/8 flying with Overwhelm, and on summon, the enemy player must choose one of their units for each different name among your dragons, exhaust those units, and steal them while you have Voprex. So this card is very late game, and remember your opponent gets to choose which units they give to you. But against decks that do not have a lot of removal, but rely on just putting a lot of stuff on the board, if you can play this blocker and get some units away from them, especially if you have at least 1 additional dragon, this can swing some games in a good way. I wouldn't rely on this that heavy, and it might be a cut from the deck for, I don't know, another Carvet, but so far I'm still experimenting with this one. Now let's get back to let's go to the Relic weapon package from Dragonforge. So we are starting things off with 1 copy of Magebreaker, a 3-cost double fire relic weapon that is a 3/2, and it has Spellcraft 2, play Unexpected Results, and that is a spell that transforms each copy of a spell of your choice from the enemy deck into firebombs. Now there has been a change in the game interface from what I remember from a couple of months ago. When you get to choose one of the spells in the opponent's deck, you don't see how many copies of it they have. That is a small bummer, because that would give you some information about what they can have in their hand. But I mean, as a replacement for Sword of Icaria, which was also a 3-cost 3/2, but with Warcry, this one is quite interesting, especially that you can tutor for it with Dragonforge, which means you can make it a 2-cost, so you either play it as a 2-cost 3/2 to just kill a 3 health opposing unit, or you pay 2 more, so you pay 4 total, and you get to play Unexpected Results as well. And remember, Unexpected Results on its own used and still costs 4. So yes, that is actually quite a good deal on this Magebreaker. Also, you usually need at least 1 cheap relic weapon that you can get with your tutor effect, so that if you are lacking power but need to remove an opposing unit, you have that option. Next up, we have Hammer of Authority, the usual go-to. That is a 5-cost 4/4 relic weapon that says the enemy player can't play spells on your turn, and they can't respond to you playing Hammer of Authority, which can produce some interesting situations. For example, if your opponent wants to block some things and has a trick or a fast speed removal, you played your Hammer of Authority, now they can't do that. It is, as I said, quite interesting. Not the greatest one, for sure. So there might be a replacement for it down along the line. Last up, we have 2 copies of Age-Worn Vestige. I'm not sure if you need more than 2 copies of this Ye Old Roland's Fist. That is a 6-cost Triple Justice 3/9 relic weapon. Yes, that is a huge boon to your health. With Spellcraft 3, play Harsh Rule, which means just wipe the whole board. So yes, this is a huge effect. This comes into play later in the game, but if you need to play it just as a 3/9 relic weapon against rather aggressive decks, so that you can fisticuff 1 or 2 of their units away while they're chipping away at the Vestige, you should be still ahead, because this is some health. This is removal to at least a couple of units. Kills a lot of stuff in the current format. So yes, this is great. This is great. And I'm gonna get to the last attachment in a moment. Okay, so I've talked about most of the non-spell stuff in this deck. Now let's get to the remaining units, because I've already talked about 10 of them. Now, Conspicuous Travel and the whole Dragon package costs 4 or more, which means, aside from the obvious smugglers that you will be running in this deck, you need something early in the game to stump the opposition. I'm not talking only about spells and removal, cheap 1 or 2 cost removal, but also you need some 2-drops. And yes, this unit has been plaguing the current metagame. Yes, I will say plaguing the current metagame. Varret, Hero in Training, a 2-cost neutral warrior, a 2/3, with Mastery 6, transform into a Varret of your choice. And you have 3 options. You change him into Varret the Wise, a 4/4 Aegis with Mastery 12 +5/+5 and Exalted, or you change him into Varret the Wise, or you change him into Varret the Wise, because that literally is 90% of what's going on. The remaining 10% is Varret the Stealthy, a 3/5 Lifestealer, and Varret the Mighty, a 6/6 Overwhelmer. So yes, Varret Hero in Training. So if it connects 3 times, it gets to transform into one of these units. 3 attacks, you say, Calebovitsch? Well, you can do it faster. If you play Varret on turn 2, and you have Dragonforge in your hand, you can play your Dragonforge, grab a weapon from your deck, reduce its cost by 1, and that weapon is Jack's Knife. Yes, the obvious combo with Varret. So it turns into a 0-cost +2/+2 weapon that you can put on Varret, and on summon, the wielder, i.e. Varret, deals 2 damage to you. So what this means is, on turn 2, you play a 2/3 blocker. On turn 3, you tutor for this, you play this for 0 on Varret. Varret deals 2 damage to you, triggering 2 points of its mastery, is now a 4/5, attacks the opponent. If the opponent cannot kill it at that point, which is usually difficult, it deals the remaining 4 points of damage it needs to finish his mastery. And it transforms into a 6/6 Aegis Varret the Wise that needs to attack twice to turn into an 11/11 Aegis Varret the Wise with Exalted. Oh my goodness, I mean, just... yes, this unit is in this deck for that explosive start potential, or just blocking some stuff in the early game. Next up, we have 4 smugglers, but I'm gonna get to the smugglers later. First, I will go for spells, which is a huge removal package. I mean, amongst the 26 spells, aside from 4 copies of Seek Power, and you need all 4 copies of Seek Power, because this is a control deck, it needs a lot of power. It is running 3 colors in a format that is only running seats and insignias and tokens, and that's it for fixing. Okay, there are also the Evangels, but mainly these cards. Yes, you need that. You do need that. the other 4 spells being Dragon Forge, and the remaining 18 spells is your removal package. Yes, this deck is very removal heavy. So let's start with Edict of Shavka. It is a 1-cost snowball. No, but seriously, it is a huge overpowered snowball. It is a 1-cost fire spell that can't be negated, can't be blocked by Aegis, deals 1 damage to an enemy, but if that enemy is Justice or Primal, it deals 5 damage to it instead. So that means against Huru, you just kill anything you want. Against Feln, you have their stuff like Temple She-Hunts, etc, etc. Against Elysian Tempo, you get to almost kill Ilan Mizo, or just kill Sodi, or just even kill Trail Makers. Sorry. Against Onis, you get to kill Chemos, you get to kill Artisans, etc, etc. I mean, there are 2 decks that are quite bad for this card. I mean, that are quite good against this card because it doesn't hurt them. One is Stonescar, the other is Xenon Cultists. But you can just market it away, honestly. Against Stonescar, it is your option on the draw to remove a turn 1 Echo. This is your best chance. So always against any deck, if you have this in your opener and you can play it on turn 1, especially if you're on the draw, you are happy. The other deck that this is slightly worse against is Xenon Cultists, but you can kill off some 1 health the Shadowland Guides or Nahid's, the 2-1-for-1 that with Life Seal that can sacrifice a unit if they have not sacrificed a unit and they played it on turn 1, for example. There are a couple of cool interactions with Edict of Shavka. One of them is the fact that it can't be negated or blocked by Aegis means that it can kill stuff like Crownwatch Paladin, the 2/2 Aegis Warcry for 2. The other one is it is your best weapon against Griffin, against Daring Griffin. Now, Daring Griffin is a menacing 4-cost 3 Flying Exalted Reckless. When the enemy player plays a spell, sacrifice Daring Griffin to negate it. And the best thing is, you play your Edict of Shavka trying to kill an opposing unit. Daring Griffin sacrifices itself, does not negate that, and you get to kill 2, usually birds with 1 stone, or just 2 units with 1 stone, one of them being a bird. So that is one cool interaction. The other cool interaction is it can kill sites. It can kill blue and or green sites because they are blue and or green. And it deals 5 damage to a site. I mean, not all the sites, but I mean, Zalta Arcanum is green. I mean, well, Garden of Omens is only 2 durability, or whatever that is called, but it can kill that as well. You can kill most of the stuff that is that came from the Flame of Xulta. Just sounds Profane Nexus, but no one is playing Profane Nexus. So yes, Edict of Shavka is my metagame choice for sure. And I was thinking maybe switch it to 4 Edicts of Makar main, 1 Edict of Shavka market. But honestly, the Edict of Shavka has been quite good for me lately. Next up, we have 4 copies of Voprex Choice, one of the best removals in this deck, because either you get the enemy player to sacrifice a unit of their choice and it goes through Varret the Wise's Aegis, or you get to draw a dragon or weapon from your void. And remember, this deck is running on dragons and weapons. So, yes, one of the better ones. Next up, we have Cast into Shadow, a 3-cost Justice Shadow fast spell that says kill an enemy unit or curse with a single faction, and you can decimate to then kill an additional enemy unit or curse with the same single faction. Now, this is not the best against all decks, but it does kill a lot of stuff that is problematic, like Mama Vera, like Carvet, like Teething Whelp, etc., etc. So yes, this has a lot of huge advantages, but I'm running just 3 copies of it because it is quite restrictive. Next up, we have 3 copies of Cremate, a 4-cost double Stone Scar fast spell. Kill a unit or site, it gets void bound. Enough said. Dragon be angry. And rounding out are 4 copies of Malediction, a 4-cost Shadow spell that says each unit gets -3/-3 this turn. And this is another one of my metagame choices because, yeah, this is a huge hoser. It is not as good as Harsh Rule for sure, but this is quite necessary for this deck to succeed. And you also usually, doesn't matter what you're playing against, you usually want one of these in your opener, obviously with you being able to play it on turn 4. That is for sure. 26 pieces of power, sources of power. You have 4, 4, and 4 seats. 2 tokens of ambition. I'm not sure if they should be tokens, if they should be some insignias that also come into play depleted. Maybe these should be more sigils. I have no idea, but these were quite alright from what I've been playing with this deck. And rounding out are 12 sigils, 5 shadow, 4 fire, 3 justice. This deck has very heavy requirements, influence requirements. It needs triple fire and triple shadow for Voprax and Voprax, the Voprax brothers, and it needs triple justice for Age-worn Vestige. I mean, this deck does not have that huge of a justice requirement overall, because aside from 1 on Conspicuous Traveler, 1 on Cast into Shadow, you only have 3 remaining justice cards, because this deck is running only 10 justice cards, a double influence Hammer of Authority, and 2 triple influence Age-worn Vestiges. And these are later in the game. So if you are seeking power and you don't know what to get, first up, go up to 2 shadow, because you need it for Carve It, you need it for fire, for Malediction, you need it for Cast into Shadow, you need it for Cremate. Next up, go to 2 fire at least for Dragon Forge, for Cremate, for Mage Breaker, for Raging Firemaw, and then only then go for choose between your additional justices, fires, and shadows. I've only briefly mentioned the smugglers here, and honestly, which smugglers you are running, whether they are Stonescar, Argentport, or was the last one, Rakano, it depends on your market. So you can just pick and choose what market you are playing. In the market, you usually want to run at least 1 piece of power, and this should be an insignia. And I believe this insignia should be shadow plus the color you don't have on your smuggler, because that is a kind of fixing. So, for example, if I am running Senway Smuggler, I can play it with fire and shadow. I'm getting my additional shadow to play my maledictions, etc., and I'm getting my justice. So Argentport insignia, maybe Stonescar insignia, but I believe Argentport insignia is slightly more needed here. Next up, we have Edict of Makar. It says an enemy unit of your choice can't block this turn. If it is time or justice, kill it. And you're just usually taking it for time and justice units. Let's not kid ourselves. Next up, we have a huge bargain, that is Draconic Ire, a 3-cost fire spell. Kill an enemy attachment, then deal damage equal to its cost to the enemy player. And on bargain, you get to play it for free. I mean, not for free. You can play it by paying its cost from the market when you hit the enemy player with a dragon. And lo and behold, you're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dragons here. And that might come into play very handily, especially that you get to deal a ton of damage to your opponent. Next up, we have the follow-up when it comes to market cards, that is Regent's Tomb, a 4-cost Argentport site that on Empower, your units get +1 attack this turn, so each time you play a power card, your units get bigger, and it plays you Lingering Influence, Sabotage, and Swear Vengeance. Depending on the board state, you go for any of these 3, and later you get Elias the Broken Wing. Yes, that is a huge threat the opponent needs to get rid of twice, usually, unless they cremate it. And last but not least, in the market we have Brel, Solist Apostate. Brel, Solist Apostate, probably. A 7-cost double Winchest, 4/5 Paladin with Warcry 2, that on summon you either get to play a 4/4 Relic weapon with Warcry 2, or you give your current relic weapon +4/+4 and Warcry 2. So yes, we have a power, a removal, a follow-up, and a finisher. So everything is in here for sure. And Draconic Ire, that, I mean, I did market for it at one point, but usually I want to bargain it out. And yes, I mean, this market can use a lot of different cards, also depending on which smuggler you're running. You could go for Conflagrate, you could go for the Green Edict, you could go for Avigraft, you could go for, I don't know, Vile Collaborator or stuff like that. Anyway, this deck, given that it is running 3 colors, it has a ton of options, cards that you can play in here. For example, you could go for Incarnaces that were in the first version, the Amalgam version of this deck. You could go for some other relic weapons like, I don't know, Stone Scar Maul, and then if you Edict of Shavka... wait, let me show you Stone Scar Maul. Stone Scar Maul, a 6/3 relic weapon with Overwhelm, which means all your spells have Overwhelm, which also means Edict of Shavka, if you play it on a Justice or Primal unit and you deal 5 damage to it, the remaining overkill damage gets overwhelmed to the opponent as well. So that also could be a huge thing. And if you look through relic weapons, I mean, in Expedition, you have a ton of stuff. You have your Charchain Flail that you can be running. You have your Slayer's Edge. You could be running Claw of the First Dragon. You could be running Mithril Mace instead of Hammer of Authority. Or Unseen Ghostblade maybe, because you are running a lot of spells. So yes, you have some options. You have some options. You could go for Name Taker. You could go for, well, maybe not Sanguine Sword. So yes, this is a very fluid deck. You can just play some other dragons. You could play some other relic weapons. You could play some other removals. I mean, Conflagrates are missing from this version because I just took them out and put Edicts of Shavka in. But yes, this is a deck, and I stand behind it. I have played it so far, some on stream, and I played in 3 runs of Expedition Melee. I went 5-2, 5-2, 3-4, and I am counting that 3 and 4 on the fact that I was slightly fatigued at that point. Okay. But this deck in total in Expedition Melees, it has 13 wins and 8 losses for me, which is quite a good record, especially that I am still experimenting with some of the cards that are in here. Alright, that has been some of the theory. Now I would like to show you 4 of those Expedition Melee games against 4 different decks to show you how this deck works in reality. See you in a moment. Welcome back. The first game is against Borgov, and a 1 power hand is not the greatest thing. 2 power and 2 seek power with 3 pieces of removal. Yes, this is what your deck wants at all times, literally at all times. We are going second against Elysian, so it looks. Borderlands Lookout. The biggest gripe of this deck is that Borderlands Lookout can get up to a 3/4, but we have Voprex's Choice, we have Cast into Shadow, we have Varad, so we do have some options to get rid of that, and we do not need to be playing Justice this soon, this early. Varad just to stop the opposing units. For a moment at least, they ramped up into Sodi Spellshaper, returning Varad to our hand and redrawing a card, but we do have a huge thing for that. Ooh, Rakano Artisan, the card I have cut from this deck list for Varads. So yeah, Varad, you should have been this one. Okay, Cast into Shadow can kill both their units, and right now I don't care if I decimate. I do have Voprex's Choice for their next threat. I have Malediction if they run the board, etc, etc. So yes, I do have some options. Temple Shihan. Okay, we're going for second fire for sure, because we don't need second justice anymore right now, at least. And Voprex's Choice, that sucker, so that the opposing units don't get flying. And end turn, obviously. Opponent, you get to choose. You have chosen, well, the only way possible. What do we have next? Daring Griffin, the Negator. So I'm willing to just burn the Dragon Forge just to get rid of that 3-2, because that can become a menace, especially on a semi-full board. Sodi the Metamorph is another one we need to destroy, and yes, I'm willing to burn a whole Malediction just to not let the opponent draw any additional cards. We can follow this up with Conspicuous Traveler. We still have Cremate for their follow-ups, and I believe I'd rather just play a blocker that is Conspicuous Traveler right now. We also have a 5th power source, so we are very close to getting Carved Solar Dragon out. Does the opponent have power? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And another Sodi Spell Shaper, so we need to get rid of that unit for sure. I mean, they are redrawing that card, and this turns into Diogo Malaga. Okay, we are getting a good treatment on those, that is for sure. And right now I need to just cremate that. I'm not waiting for the opponent to ready their turn. They could be running some one-off negates or onslaught effects or stuff like that. And following it up with another Conspicuous Traveler. I mean, that is a blocker that gains us 3 health. The opponent has something fast. What is that? We have no idea. Edict of Grodov. Okay, that is interesting. So that is a tempo play, but I'm not sure that was needed. Oh, the opponent did not have a power in hand and wanted to play Lethrai Soothsayer as to not lose their unit and proc this thingy. I am opting to play my top deck Raging Firemaw and start eating away at the opponent's stuff. Also, if I play this one first and then I follow it up with Carved Solar Dragon, Carved creates 2 cultist blockers. So yeah, that is just optimizing everything. We are at 15 right now, but we can start regaining some health with Carved in a moment. Or we have +3 from Conspicuous Traveler from replaying that card. Now, what do you have, opponent? What do you have that you are thinking about right now? Permafrost on the Dragon, sure. If they don't have a power, yes, I'm willing to trade off over here. And we are getting down to 13, and they are playing a Lightning Sprite. Sure. And discarding a power, yeah, obviously. So right now I could twist that dragon, but I opted to play Carved to start regaining some health. We gotta remember the opponent can have some Premonition Bolts on top of their deck, so we have to be careful with what we're doing here. Daring Griffin. Daring Griffin is a slight problem, but I top-decked Voprex, the Great Ruin, the old version of Voprex, Voprex 1.0. And yes, the opponent is obviously discarding a card. And at this point, I believe I want them to just run their 3-2 into our units. Blocking with this one, blocking with Carved. One of their units is getting bigger and is getting recklesser, but we are regaining some health as well. And another Daring Griffin. That is quite interesting. I could go for Conspicuous Traveler, or I could twist my dragon, or I could attack with some of these things. And I opted to attack with my 1/1s, because if the opponent blocks them, Carved can get much bigger, or Voprex can get much bigger, and we can block off that 5/6. So yes, I am opting to boost both of them here. I am killing off the Sprite. So right now the opponent attacks their 5/6 into our 6/6 and their 3/2 into our 5/6, and we should be good here. We should be good here. Unless obviously they top deck Sodi's Spell Shaper. Get our Voprex back to our hand, and it turns into a Predatory Carnosaur. Oh my goodness. Dear opponent, I'm sorry, your Equivocates are playing against you, it seems. Sure, you get to redraw a card, but I was not blocking because I am first playing Predatory Carnosaur to kill their 6/7, and then I'm attacking with the 5/6 to regain some health. Because attacking for 5 and regaining 5 is much more tempo than just blocking for 3. Premonition Bolt goes to our face. They are drawing an additional card. No more Premonition Bolts, no more Premonition Bolts, that's okay. Right now, what do we do? Do we play another Carved, or do we just kill this one? Yeah, let's kill this one and let's attack the opponent. Right now I'm leaving Carve It on defense. I'm not sure if that's the best way to go for it. I believe I should have attacked, especially that they are playing Edict of Grotov and putting it on the bottom of our library, of our deck. And after quick counting, 5 from the dragon, 7 from this attack, and 1 from Edict of Shavka is exact lethal. Although I believe I should have attacked with the dino first, just to be sure, just to have all my power open, just to be able to play Carve It, etc., etc. But that is nonetheless a victory against Elysian. Let's head on over to game number 2. This time I'm against Sasquatch Bra. 4 power, 3 cards that cost 4 power. That is on the slower side, but I am going first, which means I have slightly more time to set everything up. I mean, for me, this would be a coin toss between keeping and redrawing, honestly. But I elected to keep here, and I should be going for first Shadow here to be able to play each card from my hand. Seat of Mystery, Nahid's Faithful. Yes, we are playing against cultists right now. Seat of Chaos to follow that up. And remember, you don't have to play Justice at the beginning. You can wait with your Justice sigils. That is for sure. Unless you are playing a Seat of Glory, then why not? Why the heck not? This is a slow start, but the opponent is not having a very fast one as anyway. So yes, they are playing their Shadow Sigil, attacking for 2. Now what would you do? Incarnus, Makar's Listener. That is getting them a card, so we need to get rid of that for sure. That one is unblockable. So we can't just play out Conspicuous Traveler, or we can play out Conspicuous Traveler. Ooh, Malediction, yes, that is the top deck right now. The top deck. I mean, Incarnus has redrawn itself as a card, so that is good for the opponent. Vara's Favor, which means they are slower now. Can they play anything on 2? Yes, Zenzu, Hand of Nahid. Now I have the option of getting my Smuggler for Brel or just playing the Traveler, and given that the opponent just mills 1 card from their deck, I am willing to play out my 3-4 right now. They turned into a 3-3. Also, we gotta be very careful about this deck playing worthy causes. So look out if you're pointing a removal at their units. They can sacrifice that to kill one of your things instead. They are hitting face here. Why not attacking? I have no idea. This is going rather slow right now. Also, the opponent's deck is usually gaining a ton of health. I'm attacking first because of worthy causes, and they did have a stop here. But I am not running Malediction right now because of exactly that. Sure, opponent, you can self-mill a card. I do not care about that. What I do care about is cremating your thingy. Vault of the Praxis. When you play your second unit in a turn, draw a card. Okay, the opponent is trying to go for some sort of card advantage, but I am trying to go for some armor advantage. So I believe I am playing Senway Smuggler, getting Malediction out and getting Brel. I mean, Malediction right now is not too good for me. So let's get Brel in here, and we do have power open to play Cremate. Torrent of Spiders. Play 3 spiders. Oh my goodness. Now let's play Whack-A-Mole with Brel and Brel's Mallet. That is going to be a 4/12 Relic Weapon with Warcry 2. With Warcry 2. Not playing that power out right now. But guys, remember your power requirements and your influence requirements in this deck. You need 3 Justice, 3 Fire, 3 Shadow, and up to 9 power for Age-Worn Vestige with Spellcraft. And also, right now, Conspicuous Traveler gave +1 attack to Brel's Mallet. The opponent is going for this. Oh, they don't want Conspicuous Traveler in here, and they are even stealing that from us. So what we need to do is kill the last spider and attack their site. And I should be playing Seed of Vengeance as well to get up to, potentially up to 9 with 3 Justice, 3 Fire and 3 Shadow. Also having Cremate open. I mean, I could have cremated the site and attacked the face, but I want to be more resource efficient right now. Carve it. Yes, I would like to cremate Carve it so that the opponent cannot get it back. Mallet this one, attack for 7. Play Seek Power to get a power out from my deck. And we are getting a ton of Warcry 2s. I believe 5 already, so plus 10, plus 10. That is a huge, huge boon for the next unit or weapon that we're going to play. What is that going to be? Another Vault of the Praxis, Nahid's Faithful, and some other thing like another Nahid's Faithful, and the opponent is redrawing 2 cards. So this will probably be difficult to get rid of all their stuff quite soon now. Emblem of Grotov, sure. Are they decimating? They probably should be decimating. I mean, that is an additional unit after all. And Varas favor the face to make the mallet slightly smaller. We can kill one, kill the other, attack for 7 yet again. So it's plus 14 now, oh my goodness. Something is going to be very, very big. Ibn Dune Smuggler, and they are playing it main phase. Main phase, even. Nahid's Faithful. Drawing 2 cards. What are you going to do, opponent? Play 2 1/1 cultists. Sure. So right now they have a ton of blockers. I am killing this one though. Edict of Shafkan the Lifestealer and attacking once again. Just with this I want my mallet to survive. They will probably chump block, yes. So the next thing is what, plus 18 now? Something along those lines. Vara Fate Touch, yeah, that is slightly ahead of Brel's mallet, unfortunately. And right now they can use it to their advantage for sure. Incarnus gets their additional card. Also, they have just played 2 units, which means Double Vault of the Praxis draws them 2 cards, and they will be getting ahead right now. Still at 15, and I have no way to break through right now. I believe I need to kill Incarnus and play my Token of Ambition. Yes, let's do that. But it is going to be very difficult. I mean, I would have to double block with Vara with both of my units. Shadowlands Guide gets them 2 cards, gets them a 1 cost, and gets them a shadow thingy. It's good that I have void bounded Carve it. That is for sure. I need to draw some removal, like cast into shadow or something like that. They're also getting Nahid's Faithful. They are getting a card from their market. They are drawing 2 cards of a Double Vault of the Praxis. So yes, that is Cultists at its best. Edict of Makar killing 1. Spooter killing the other. Vara killing the weapon. Yeah, I'm not in a good position right now. Another Incarnus. And getting something else back. Now what are you going to do, opponent? What are you going to do to me? Or what are you going to do to me? Zenzu, sure, playing a power. Do you have something else to say? Waylay. The enemy player discards each copy of a unit or side of your choice from their deck. Decimate, steal the enemy player's void. Okay, so I have no Carvets, I have no Void. I would have to top deck something. Yes, I knew this was coming because I was playing this game previously. It is indeed a 23-29 Age-Worn Vestige that kills the opponent's board and attacks them for 23 on the same turn. Thank you, opponent. Yes, I know this was a top deck. Let's head on over to game number 3. See if it was any cooler than this. Does it get any cooler than this? We'll see. Ninja! 2 Varets, Dragonforge that I cannot play, but I am hoping. Varet into Varet. That is usually a very fast start. Argentport Insignia. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Yes, this is Varet number 1. Opponent, you have a problem. So what are you going to play? Crownwatch Paladin. Oh, I did not have to tutor for it, I just drew it. Now, from playing Koroviat Paladin Mafia, I know that it is quite difficult to get rid of Varet in that deck, because stuff usually doesn't work, like Cast into Shadow doesn't work, they have what, Devouring Shadow, so yes. This is going to be the time where I am probably not going for Varet the Aegis one, but maybe for Varet the biggest one, Varet the Mighty. An 8/8, but don't worry, opponent, I will play a Justice Sigil and play a second Varet, because I want to win very fast. Yes, this looks like a wholly different deck, doesn't it, guys? That is just a mode that is available for you for the low price of a ton of legendaries. Blade Breakers. Oh, camo. The funniest thing is actually that I cannot play anything else. I could have just played 2 Varets and a Jack's Hammer, and this could even be enough for this deck to win. You know? If Varet number 1 gets exalted, gets killed, plays the weapon on the second one, that one can do the double. So yes, it is very interesting indeed. Unfortunately, the opponent played Howling Kurtar, which will curtail my advances for a moment. Yes, I am going for Fire Sigil. Yes, I am playing it. Yes, I will be going for Dragonforge in a moment. Not playing anything else right now, though. I mean, I could go for Malediction and sacrifice my my Varet. So yes, Dragonforge. Don't know what I will be going here for. I only have 1 fire, probably Carvet or Noxious Wyvark. Or Raging Fire. No, I don't have double red. So yes, it is Carvet. That costs only 5, so if I draw power, I can play Carvet even. Right, Senway Smuggler. No, I want to go for Malediction. Kill the 3/3. I mean the deadly one. Spiteful Strike, so the opponent is saving that one. I am not willing to attack into that deadly anymore, because next turn I can go Senway Smuggler into getting a, what was that one called? Edict of Makar, killing the deadly. And the opponent is on their health plan and stealing my void plan. Oh well. Seek power, always get another red. Play this one out. I believe I won't be needing Voprex anytime soon, or will be able to play Voprex anytime soon. So let's get rid of that one. Let's get Edict of Makar in here, kill their deadly, and attack for 8. And have a huge Overwhelmer. Overwhelmer FUD. Yes, +5, and Exalted. And people keep forgetting about that Exalted. I mean, Varret right now forgot about the Exalted because he got silenced by a 1/1 Coastal Diplomat. That is correct. What else could I go for? Regent's Tomb? No, I believe I have to go for Carve It and just start trading lifesteal for lifesteal. Yes, the chump block plan. Devour? I don't know what that one was about. Play Carve It. Just hopefully the dragon survives. Ashara, the Dead Shot. The opponent is playing a lot of interesting cards here. What I can do, I mean, with Voprex's Choice, they're just gonna get rid of Ashara, so I will get rid of Ashara this way and attack them for a lot and get up to 7. So I hope they don't have another Spiteful Strike or Draw Strength or Finest Hour. And it was very difficult just keeping Carve It at bay. Because then just one removal, one cast into Shadow, and bye-bye. Crownwatch Paladin, sure. Yes, opponent. Fortunately, we are alive. Now, I am attacking with just these two, but I should have attacked with all 3, FYI. But I do have a plan here, and it is a funny one. Because right now, I can go for Draconic Ire from the market and bargain it under 3 cost Surgeon's Saw to deal the remaining 3 damage and kill them. Unless they devour and get rid of the target. So they go up to 5, that cannot die, but I do have Smuggler and Voprex's Choice, and yeah, this should be okay. We should be okay, guys. We should be okay. On to game number 4. Torchy, hello and welcome. 1 power hand. There's the door. 3 power hands. You're safe here. I mean, I cannot play Raging Firemaw out, but this hand is still good. I believe I was just wishing I had Stonescar Insignia there. Seed of Vengeance, sure. And the opponent is playing Stonescar here, so as I said, 4 different decks, 4 different takes on the metagame. And here's where Edict of Shavka shines, because it is the easiest get it away from us possible. I went for Regent's Tomb. I'm not sure if that was the correct way to do things here. Seed of Glory allowing us to play the dragon. Or I could go for Dragon Forge and get a relic weapon. What are you going to do, Caleb? I don't know, Caleb. I'm still thinking. Yeah, and in the end I went for Raging Firemaw. Caleb's Persuader. Okay, this Varret is huge. This Varret is huge. Is going to get exalted. Masteried. And obviously Varret the Wise. Alright, what I would like to draw now is Voprex's Choice for sure. But I was thinking of giving myself some more time which is why I went for Square Vengeance on my dragon, so I can block with it. Vara's Favor here, sure. If they draw a second one, they can get rid of the site. And fortunately, this is Voprex's choice, which means I want to sabotage. Ooh, another Caleb's Persuader. That would have been horrible. But they could have had like a Devour or something. I don't believe they are running Devour, but they could have, right? Like a one of Devour in their deck. Incarnus. Now for Incarnus, I remember I did have a nasty plan. Whichever card they're getting is not going to save Incarnus, because I am going to Dragon Forge for my Raging Firemaw. It has Destiny, so it will come into play at that particular point. I will ready my resources with 6 up, and will be able to torch their dude. Malediction should go on top against Stonescar. This is also a slight mistake I made, because as everyone, I forgot to empower my dragon and attack for 1 more. Hopefully that will not have a huge effect on the result of the game. Echo Inspire Artisan is something we can kill with Edict of Shavka, and Varret is something we can kill with Raging Firemaw. So good on both accounts, honestly. We are also getting Elias. And right now I remembered what I did wrong and incorrect. So first I'm playing the power. And remember, even if Raging Firemaw's attack is increased temporarily, it still it deals that 1 more point of damage with its Fire Breath anyway. Also remember, Raging Firemaw can go face. And right now, if the opponent has no cards in hand, I am just playing power, empowering the attack of both my units, Raging Firemawing their face, for 6, attacking for 6 and 9. I'm sorry, opponent, I just wanted to show off that I have Draconic Ire in the market for this video, because I did not know if I would be playing the other one with Draconic Ire. So sorry, opponent, that was not BM, that was just something I wanted to accent during this video. Okay, these were 4 games with Expedition Winchest control of the Dragon/Armory variety. Now let's get back on top and talk a bit more about the deck. Okay guys, so this is Expedition Winchest control by Calebovitsch, as started by Amalgam, but changed like a third of the deck along the way. If you have a suggestion for a better name of this deck, please write it in the comments below. Also, a couple of other things that I wanted to mention about this deck. It is a very expensive one. I mean, look, you have 4 Varrets, you have a Raging Firemaw, you have 2 Carvets, you have a Voprex here, a Voprex there, a Voprex everywhere, a Hammer of Authority, 2 Age-Worn Vestiges, these are fortunately rares or lower, and you also have Regent's Tomb and Brel over here. So that is a ton of legendaries and a lot of rares as well, like Senway Smugglers, Conspicuous Travelers, Magebreaker, what else? Cast into Shadow, Cremates, Maledictions, and your Draconic Ire. Also, there is a card that Amalgam was running here that I am not running, a card that is usually run in any and all Armory decks, that is called Smuggler's Stash, you know, like mustache. That is a 6-cost Stonescar spell that says draw 2 units and 2 weapons from your void. And for some time I was running it in my market actually, but then I took a look at this deck and I mean, I'm running 4 Relic weapons and 1 of Jack's Knife for Varrets. I mean, for Varrets and Raging Firemaw and Carvet and the other stuff. So yeah, there is that. So usually I'm not returning a lot of things. I usually can't return 4 things from my void to my hand. So there is another thing. I am already running for Voprex's Choice, with which I can retrieve a buffed up relic weapon from my void to my hand. So I believe Voprex's Choices are enough, and you don't need to go and grow a stash to get a lot of weapons and units from your void. I mean, 18 units and 5 attachments total. That's not a lot. That is not a lot. Okay. Anyway. This has been another episode of Deck Check by Calebovitsch. I wanted to thank the sponsors of this video, that is Team Rankstar, your best source for all information, strategy articles, guides, such as the Draft Guide for Eternal by Calebovitsch. You can find it all on teamrankstar.com, your source for Eternal, the Elder Scroll Legends, Magic the Gathering, Tappen, Mythgard, Gwent, and I'm always forgetting one. So sorry for that. Oh, Hearthstone, yes. This video has also been sponsored by Inked Gaming. Customize your game with your style, by OP Seed, and by Acquire. You can check out all these sponsors in the link that is in the description of this video below. Unless you're watching it upside down, then above. Okay, Calebovitsch out, take care, have a great day, and win some points to get qualified for the quarterly championships in the expedition format. And I wanted to say something funny, but I don't know what, so have a great day. Bye-bye.